This random side note moment has most likely occurred due to Shaw getting sidetracked during a previous yap. One that I'm sure went on far too long anyway. But, enjoy.
So first off, I was supposed to be doing this outside, where it was nice, get a different change or a different scene, change of scenery. I think that's what I was going with. However, it did not work out that way. You know what? I gotta put my retainer in because I ain't have this shit on in like 2 days. Hold on. Anyway, so I'm gonna be talking like fucking mush mouth for the rest of this video. I wanted to film this outside, but yeah, we got some motherfucking. If you follow me, actually no, you won't see. You wouldn't have seen this story anywhere because I only posted to my private Instagram. But some neighbors moved in over the summertime. There was a vacant house for sale for quite a while that never sold, so they ended up renting out to some what seems like random as fuck people. And I just want y'all to know that the police have been here more times in the last 3 months than I've ever called the police in my entire life of 44 years. Like, by a lot. And not like, by a lot. Like, they just left again tonight. And so I couldn't record because drama. Anyway, so what even made me want to record this video was I was talking about one in one of the child support videos. I think it was like part 3. I was talking about having to move in with a roommate. It was actually her place, but I moved in with her in an effort to save money. Did that work at all? Fuck no. But it's what we did. Now, it just so happens I was talking about this same person in another video that I did post to TikTok, but I didn't really post anywhere else. And people seem to have liked it, or it got a lot of watches on TikTok. So I was going to just post it on YouTube. But in between talking about living with her when I was going through my child support shit, and then also the video, it made me want to talk about her in that time period of my life in general, because she's a very, very good friend. And honestly, there isn't many people who get to know the full me. Like, bitch, I'm multifaceted as a song, bitch. And so she is one of the very few people. Oh, I'm so sorry. When I have my retainer, my mouth be spitty as fuck. So sorry about the mouth noises I'm about to be making for the next fucking 10 minutes. But not very many people get to see the vulnerable side of me and the outgoing side of me or the angry side of me. She's one of the very few people who have seen me angry outside of my family members. And so it's just weird. Our relationship is very important to me. We've remained friends over the last, what is it now, almost 20 years. And so I hold her very near and dear to my heart. And so basically, how we met. So how I met my friend Cupcake, because that's what I'm going to call her in this video. Now, the thing I need to say as I call her Cupcake is the running joke amongst us is from the time we met as friends and then definitely when we moved in together, we were always having to reset the gay board. Both of us are heterosexual, but living together, we would accidentally be gay as fuck for one another all the time. Like, just little random things that just happens, throughout the course of your day or the week or however you want to say when you're living with somebody else. And so that was just the funniest thing, because we would have to reset the board, like, okay, we're back to 0 days gay in the apartment. And then very quickly we would have to roll it back to 0 days after maybe like a few days. Whatever. Inside joke we thought was hilarious. And so me calling her Cupcake immediately makes me think of that. But whatever. So we both worked at the same job. We worked for the same company. She worked at a different location. I worked at another location. And we had a mutual friend. At some point, without me ever meeting her, she started working at our location where me and the mutual friend worked at. And immediately, like the first day of her being on site, I was in the cafe getting me some French fries, more than likely, and he walks up to me with her. He was like, "Hi, Sha, this is Cupcake. You guys need to meet. You should be friends. Thank you. And he walked away. And we were like, okay, you fucking weirdo. Hey, girl, what's going on? And it was literally love at first sight. Again, we're straight. We're straight as hell. But it was love at first sight. At first sight. This retainer is whooping my ass. Um, and we became fast friends. And so we hung out. Um, this is right when I was starting to feel or go through the child support shit, or right afterwards. I think I had already found out I was going to be on child support, and I was still trying to maintain my life as a single adult, thinking that somehow I, on one income, was going to be able to manage all these child support payments and my regular bills, card note, whatever. I don't think I had a card note, but whatever the fuck, right? And so she was dealing with what she was dealing with. It wasn't, she just, I honestly don't know what the fuck she had going on financially, but I think what had happened was she went from making a significant amount of income, and then that income was reduced. I think that's what happened with her. So, we hung out a few times, and so me and Cupcake, we hung out. We were just always kind of talking about what we had going on. Like I said, we got along really well. She was super funny. What I loved about her is, this is kind of my, if I had a type for friends, it would be quiet but hilarious. Definitely, I always end up, probably because it's different from me. I always end up with like kind of introverted girls or women who are fucking hilarious, but most people won't know that until they like actually speak with them, and they're usually like nerds and all this shit. And that was Cupcake to a T. Like fucking funny. She was tall, like a little bit taller than me, and that was already like Tall Girls Unite, that sort of thing. And the guy that introduced us, he thought we both were funny, and this is why he thought we should meet. So we got along really well. And shortly after that, we had a conversation, because child support was with my ass at this point, or I was starting to realize that life was never going to be the same for me again. And so she brought up that we could move in and live together. Now I was like, girl, we can't. I have cats. I had just gotten 2 kittens right before I got started child support papers. And so she had an older, fucking mean ass cat, but R.I.P. Copa. Um, and so, that was my main concern. I was like, oh my God, it's not gonna work out, whatever. And she was like, no, this, that, third, da, da, da. Long story long, we ended up moving in together. I gave up my apartment, the penthouse, and moved in with her. Probably within 2 weeks of moving in with her, and this is what I was talking about on the child support video. The car was dirty as fuck. Like, dirty as fuck. And I talked about the car in the video where I'm talking about accidentally running from the police. But the car was dirty as fuck. And I finally got caught out there going to work one night at my second job. That was a third shift job. They caught me on the way and impounded the car. I never got it back, never saw it again. And so now I'm down a job, but me and her, we still, as two of us, we work at the same place up at my day job, same shift and everything, so I could just ride in with her. Well, a month or so into that, um, I get laid off unexpectedly. So now I'm a bum on the couch. No job, no car, down 2 jobs. Like, it's the worst. And what's crazy? What is crazy is right now I moved into my good friend's additional unit on their property, where I was paying rent, living long term. Things were going well. And as soon as things started going well for me, getting on my feet, I get laid off. And now they're essentially having to take care of me. And it's the same thing all over again. Like, let me take my ass back. But anyway, I'm just kind of thinking it out loud. But now I'm a bum on the fucking couch. Like, I'm definitely the guy on the motherfucking couch, like, without question. Like, she would joke and say that she knew, she was worried about me because I was so depressed, but she also knew I was such a neat freak that I would never do anything that would involve someone having to clean up a mess. And facts, that's probably the only thing that kept me alive. But, eventually I did get a job. But while that was staying there, I guess this is the point of making the video. because I was in my 20s, not my early 20s, but still in my 20s. I was super fucking young and dumb and honestly just super irresponsible. And when I first moved in there, everything that could go wrong for her and I went wrong. It was like, and now I'm sitting there like, bitch, was it you? Because I got there, and even before I think before even I lost the car, the furnace broke, the refrigerator was kind of broken, the bathroom had some issues. Like, we were dealing with a lot of stuff. Like, we would have to like use the fireplace because the furnace wasn't working. Use the heat, or and if we had to use the fireplace, we had to fucking hustle up wood because one of us isn't working and the other one is paying all the bills by herself. Like, it was just a whole mess. The cats were fucking fighting. Every man that we know automatically assumed that we were going to become lesbian lovers, and they all wanted first dibs on threesome action. So we were always fighting off the men. Um, I accidentally slept with somebody that she liked. I know you're like, bitch, how? But I did. And then the major thing I was dealing with when I lived there was this fucking love triangle that I was involved in, which is the story time that I told, that made me think about her in the first place. And it was just wild times all the time. Like, uh, a friend of hers used to steal firewood for us. He brought one time these huge fucking trunks of trees or stumps, tree stumps that had been cut down for us to use. We couldn't even use the shit because it was so big and so like saturated from water from wherever the fuck he picked it up at, that they just sat there. One time my boyfriend was a cop and he was there, and I asked him to shoot the damn, if he could shoot the wood with his gun to break it up for us. I was dead ass, and they all thought I was fucking crazy. I don't understand. Like, that would have fucking fixed our problem. It was just always so much, and we really went through a lot in that apartment, and so much like, and it really developed, like I said, one of the dearest, strongest, most true. Like, that's really my friend. I love her to death. I don't know what I would have done without her, and so um, it's just funny to talk about some of the shit we went through. Like, at one point, I was working for the census. Of course, we stayed blowing the place down, after work for her, and when I was unemployed for me during the day. But the rule was, okay, but if we have guests coming over, non 420 friendly guests, make sure you do a spot check before they come. Somehow, I don't know how she kept making the mistake of making me in charge of the fucking spot checks, but somehow I always became spot check person. And so I fucking suck at spot checks. And it would always end up, we'd be sitting there. Like, one time was my boss from my job I was working. Another time was like one of her coworkers or somebody, like, who we definitely didn't want to see anything relating to marijuana. And I left like whole blunts on the table. Like, it was really bad. Like, this, just shit like this. And we had like our own language and made up songs, and I was kind of loose. I was a little loose back then when I lived there. I had a number of goddamn man friends that would come over, and it always worked out for us. We always got some benefit out the deal, but it was just definitely one of those situations where she was the quiet, cool neighborhood, or a quiet, nerdy neighborhood roommate. She was the she was a cool, quiet, but funny roommate, and I was like the outgoing, like always on a date, always got some foolishness going on roommate, and it was just some of the best years of my life. I spent there with her. I've since apologized because I was a terrible roommate back then, like absolutely ridiculous. And I keep using that word roommate, and I'm using it very loosely because I don't know how much money I actually ever spent after I lost my damn jobs and was basically a bum on the couch. We did get into like two arguments, but we were such good friends. Like, anybody else, I would have never spoke to them again after those arguments. But with her, it was different. Like, that's my girl. I knew her family. I know a lot about her life, and throughout the years, I've traveled to spend holidays with her. She's done the same for me, and I just know she's one of those friends that's just going to be there for fucking ever when we're old and gray. but she already a little bit gray. If she see this, she'll beat me up. Because even though she's quiet and sweet and funny, she's also like a bully, and that's why this story that I'm just gonna go ahead and pop in now because I've just been yapping for way longer, much longer than I was supposed to have. But in this story, that's why, like when I say in the story, I was afraid of her, bitch, I was. Because she didn't play when she did get upset. She did not play, but love her down. And there's so many stories that, I could go on and tell, and I could talk about it for hours, literally. There's so many things that happen. I'm sure I'm going to end this and be like, oh, I should have talked about when this happened or not happened, like the time we fucking one time the car was acting up. I go on Google and I find out because the car would always act up whenever it would rain. She had told me this about her car. And so the car was acting up, and I go on Google, my Google face ass, and I'm like, oh, well, it says here it could be the distributor cap or whatever the fuck it was. So we end up going and getting a fucking hair dryer that we had to take an extension cord and lift off over the fucking balcony where we often had illegal goddamn barbecues because the tenant, the condo association manager, lived above us. We called him Swishy because, and he was just, that described him. But anyway, so motherfucker, we was always catching beef with Swishy because he was loud as fuck upstairs playing the goddamn piano. Anyway, so we fucking blue dried or blow dried, we blow dried the motherfucking car, and then we tried to start it and it did. So we were like, oh shit, we fixed the car, yeah, bitch. We out this motherfucker like we the shit. You can't tell us nothing, like we popping mad shit. So we immediately jump in the car and go get rolled up at goddamn Taco Bell. And as we go to make the most dangerous fucking turn in our lives to turn into the Taco Bell, the fucking car shuts off because bitch, I ain't fixed shit. And I tell you, we almost fucking died. And so to this day is one of the funniest times of our lives. Because, bitch, we almost died. We just knew we fixed the fucking car. Did it. But there's so many stories like that. I could tell like a million more. But anyway, this is the story time I posted up on TikTok. Ain't really shit. Just me talking about one of the wild times living there in that apartment. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you want to hear more story times about me and Cupcake, let me know. One time I was involved in a love triangle. This shit was like fucking 7 years long, if not longer. It's the only time in my life I've knowingly been a side chick because it wasn't my man, right? I don't got time to get into that right now. Anyhow, uh, the girlfriend slash ex-girlfriend, depending on what time of what part of our lives this was crazy. She would stalk the fuck out of me and him. She had broken into my email. The bitch had a picture of my crotch on her phone. Like, anything you could think of, she had done it or had put me through it. Did it stop me from fucking with that man? No. Didn't learn my lesson for a long time. Finally did, but it took me a while. Anywho, one of the times that she was tripping, me and him were at my house where I lived with my roommate. Now, technically, it was my roommate's house, but we lived there together. And he and I had been outside, or actually, we were inside this particular day. We were inside hanging out, and all of a sudden, we hear all this commotion out in the parking lot, horn blowing, screaming, da 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 da. We knew, like, she was so bad. We knew it was her from the sound of the horn. Like, you just knew, and it wasn't like something was wrong with the horn. You just knew. Anyway, we hear her acting fuck up, and so we start getting our shit together. He's like, I'm just gonna leave. Now, this wasn't the first time. Like, she would pull up on us all the time, and he would be like, "Bitch, get the fuck out of here. We're trying to chill." And she would eventually. With this, I think she just fed up. Now that I'm older, because this was in my 20s. Now that I'm older, looking back, bitch, anyway. So we get to going and walking towards the door because he's just gonna leave. And as we get to the fucking door, she's already in the hallway. Which I'm lying. He goes and he leaves. As he gets down to the bottom door, because it's one of those buildings where the door locked at the bottom, he gets down there. I can hear them fussing and carrying on and this and that. And then I just kind of was still in my room. I lied. Y'all, I fucking lied. He left and went out. I was still in the room. and I can hear them downstairs cutting up whatever. I just figured they're in the hallway. Ain't no need for me to go out there. That's your girlfriend. It ain't got nothing to do with me. So then, all of a sudden, I'm thinking to myself, let me just go lock the door behind him. As I'm walking to the door flies the fuck open. And this bitch starts coming in the house talking shit. I don't even remember what she was saying. Because why? Because, bitch, I was shook. I was scared to fucking death. And what was I scared of? Not her. I didn't give a fuck about her. My roommate, an actress at the time, was in this big play. And she had been, like, going out. Like, she was, like, her schedule was crazy at this time, like fucking nuts, because she had rehearsals, she had, you know, the shows. She also, at the time, they were starting their own company, her and her friends, like, bitch, I'm fucking sleep, don't wake me up. And I had a history of accidentally waking her up because it's fucking me. And y'all, in my 20s, I was a damn problem. Anyway, so I'm like, bitch, shh, you better be fucking quiet. Like, shit, get the fuck out the house. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck what you got going on. What you trying to say to me? Get the fuck out of here before my damn roommate wakes up. And as I'm trying to shush this bitch and get her out the house, we're just having, like, I'm just at the door, like, bitch, get out, bitch. The only reason why I'm not putting hands on this bitch for coming to my house, is because I'm trying to keep the fucking noise down. First of all, didn't even know. I'm still confused. Bitch, how you up here? Where he at? Because why you up here by yourself? And so all of a sudden, my fucking roommate's door, like, busts open. And my roommate comes out. I'm 5'11". My roommate's like 6 feet. 6'1". Comes through the fucking hallway. Full face of stage makeup. Full face of makeup. Panties and like a little shirt, because basically the bitch came home from acting and went right in the fucking bed. She said, you get the fuck out my house. Get the fuck. As she's walking down the hallway, bitch, I thought she was talking to me. I was about to leave too. And then all of a sudden, finally, this nigga finally makes it back upstairs, and now he fucking grabs her, and they goddamn tussle and go down the stairs, and I hear, oh, you fight me over this bitch? You gonna fight me over this bitch? He did, took her ass right on down the fucking stairs, and then she was gone. Nigga. The way I started profusely apologizing to my roommate, I was scared to death, bitch. Like, hey, do you need some water? Can I get you anything? Like, and that was just one of the many, many, many fucking times with just that bitch that I dealt with. Fucking crazy girl. Oh my God. It turns out, because I forgot to say this in the story time, it turns out when dude went downstairs, she was already at the locked bottom door. And so he just like opens the door and pushes past her, like, I ain't even doing this with you, I'm just gonna leave. Whole time, I don't know, she caught the door before it closed, and she came outside. He continues to walk around out the hallway. To walk through the courtyard, it was a little bit of not a long walk, but it was a little bit of length. And he said when he gets out to the parking lot, it's not until he gets almost all the way there, and then he's like, wait a minute, what the fuck? And he realizes she's not there. And that's when he comes back. How he gets upstairs, I don't even know. Don't even know. I've never thought about this until right now. How he got the fuck back upstairs, I don't know, because he ain't have no fucking unless it did one of the, because sometimes the door would do this weird shit, and maybe that's even how she got it. It would do this weird thing where it would close, but if you didn't pull it, it didn't catch, or I don't fucking know, but fucking nuts. Then it was one time, oh my God, one time he and I got caught at his mama house. Bitch fucking was outside knocking on the door for hours, and we were just up in there. He just wouldn't let her in. He faking like he was passed out. My ass fucking fell asleep hiding from her in the closet. Bitch, y'all. I'm laughing now. I'm laughing, but the shit is not fucking funny. It is not fucking funny, bro. The shit I went through with this nigga and his girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, bitch.
This girl works.